Good afternoon and welcome to the webinar presented by the Colby Career Center for prospective student parents. Today is Thursday, April 22nd, and thank you all so much for joining us, and I look forward to taking you through some of the different activities that we're doing here at the Career Center over about the next half hour. Talking about today is the general philosophy of the Career Center and working with students, letting you know a little bit more about our staffing, programming, and resources, activities that we're specifically doing for student engagement and how students are engaging with us, and then of course, probably the most important piece of that is the student outcomes. Think of how we work with students. We think of students sort of being the leadership, or what we call the leadership of you. Having them think of themselves as the CEO or the leader of their own company, of their own destiny, their own vision for their future. So when they arrive on campus, right, we see a lot of students that are really eager to be here. They're sort of ready to take things on. They're excited about orientation. They're getting to know roommates, understanding their way around campus, right, meeting professors for the first time, perhaps engaging with a club, getting their peer groups together. But one of the things we really encourage students to think about as they're going through all of this in those first few weeks and even that first semester while they're at Colby is thinking about, instead of charging through this on their own, this new experience, we really want them to think about building themselves a team, right? So if you are a CEO or if you're in charge of an organization, one of the first things you do and one of the ways you achieve success is by building a team that can help support your vision and your ambitions. So we talk to students a lot about who is going to be on your team, who is going to be on the students' team. So we talk with them about the opportunity for faculty, right, staff, peers, coaches, other mentors, and yes, parents. So who is going to be their team that's going to lead them to success? So when we use this leadership analogy with students, we really think about students having a vision, working together towards the same goal, this team that they put together, being able to step out of their comfort zone, and having some actions that actually produce a result. So again, what we want them to do is to be their own CEO and create a vision and execute that for success. So who the Career Center staff are and who will hopefully be a member of your students' team. Again, myself, Elisa Johnson, Director of the Career Center. We have Erica Humphrey, Associate Director that oversees our Employer Relations Program. Kate Talbot Ashton, Class of '80, also Associate Director, who is our pre-professional advisor on the team. Jordan Bell, Assistant Director, who really oversees a lot of the internship process for students. Sarah Whitfield, 09, she's a career counselor joining us this year, and she works with a lot of undecided students and oversees our Job Shadow program. And we have Jim Peacock, also a career counselor, and CDAs, who are our student career development advisors, and growing. So while your student is here at Colby, they are going to see a commitment from President Green as far as growing the staffing in the Career Center to continue to add programming for students. So our goals as a center, first goal is to meet each student where they are at in the career development process and assist them in developing a plan to move forward. So thinking of your students, right, coming into Colby for the first time, some of them may have an exact idea of where they want to go. Some may be completely undecided, and we truly have the resources, and it is our philosophy and our goal to meet students where they are at and helping them develop a plan to move forward. So you also may have a first-year student that is not quite ready to engage with the Career Center or think, you know, that's not something that I need to do right now. We encourage all students to at least come in their first year and just to have a meeting so that we can do an initial intake, understand a little bit better about where they are, and have them at least think through a plan of how they can move forward. Another goal is also to assist students in taking ownership of the process, right? It truly is their future. There's a lot of guidance, I would say, that goes into the college process as far as advising for courses. You get coaching for sports, you're going to get coaching and advising from us in the Career Center, but part of the coaching and advising that we do is really to assist students in making this career development process their own and to truly take ownership of what is going to become their career path in their future. And lastly, we also strive to provide resources for career exploration, ensuring that each student has the opportunity to investigate and determine a best career path. And what we mean by that is knowing that today's millennials will switch careers, not just jobs, but actual careers, the average is around 7 times in their lifetime. We are hoping for them to at least develop what we're calling a best career path that is their ideal as they leave Colby. So what we're hoping there is that it may be something that is a career path that can last them a lifetime, but if not, at the very least, it's a pathway that can get them off to some initial successes and achievements. So the general advising model that we use with students when we have conversations with them and we coach and advise them through this career development process is for them to think about these 4 different facets of a career. So there are those things that they love, right, which is sort of passion, mission-driven, the things that they are good at, so their skill set. And skill set and passions are not always necessarily the same thing. So for example, I can give a good example even with myself is that I'm really good at manipulating data in Excel. It's a skill, but it certainly is not a passion, right? It is not something I would want to do every day. But how those things overlap, in addition to another area that may be important to some students, is that which the world needs. We have a lot of students here at Colby that really want to make a difference in the world. And then lastly, but certainly not least, is that which you can be paid for. So thinking about your earnings, what do you need to earn, what kind of lifestyle are you looking for, and looking where you see that star in the middle, right, that sweet spot where what's called purpose, or where we would love for each individual Colby student to land and create their own action plan based on this model. Part of meeting students where they are at has to do with the programming that we offer. So throughout the year, we do offer specific workshops and programs for undecided students. So again, that would include a lot of first-year students and helping them think through even what major best suits them while they're here at Colby, helping them participate in different activities for career exploration purposes. We have specific programming for international students where they face a different set of issues in their career development process related to ability to work in the United States or even outside of their home country. So we do offer several workshops to help that specific student group navigate their path. We work with student athletes in helping them think about how that skill set translates to the workplace. Other underrepresented populations, such as minority students or first-generation college goers, specific majors, so we work a lot in conjunction with departments to put on events specifically for math majors or specifically for philosophy majors. And then we also have class year mandatory meetings. So each class year, at the beginning of the fall semester, we have a class meeting, again, geared towards students sort of knowing where they are at, what are the actions they should be taking as a first year, sophomore, junior, senior student in their career development to stay on track. So a little engagement by the numbers for you. If you were to take a look, this is a snapshot of this year, so from September through the end of February. I'm going to take you through the first year numbers. So if you look at the first year class, there's a total of 520 students in the class. 350 of them, or 67%, have had unique in-person interactions. So they've attended a workshop, a drop-in info session, or have had a career counseling appointment. When we include the students that are logging in to our database and accessing online resources, that bumps it up to 78% of the class that have had interactions with the Career Center in some way. So as you can imagine, and you can see, that stays pretty steady and bumps up significantly for the number of seniors, unique seniors that are interacting with the Career Center. And now that we're actually approaching, mid to end of April, we're going to end up seeing close to 100% of seniors that interact with the Career Center. So taking a brief look at CareerLink. So this is our job and internship resource database. Each student comes into Colby with a login. They will get information on that both via email and in their mailbox when they arrive here on campus. So immediately, again, from day one, students have access to these online resources. What I'd like to do is take you through just a few of the highlights. We have a job and internship database that is one of the tabs in blue across the top. We have over to the left the Liberal Arts Career Network and the Nationwide Internship Consortium. Both of those are consortia that Colby is part of and that students have access to. So these are internships from Pomona College, from Denison College, from Washington and Lee, from several other liberal arts institutions in New England, such as Middlebury and Brandeis and Bowdoin. Colby students have access through this consortia to internships and entry-level job postings for all of these liberal arts institutions, geographically diverse across the United States. So it's actually quite a rich resource. We also have, if you look over to the right side navigation bar, where it looks like you're seeing those little green arrows, lots of additional resources for students. But one of the other more important things that they can access are the events calendar. Here's a quick snapshot of, I believe this was last week, I think April 14th or 15th. But just to give you an idea of a typical day of offerings from the Career Center. So we have the Peace Corps that had an information table. We also list, as you can see, different off-campus events that students can go to. There is a bus line, Concord Trailways, that does depart from campus throughout the day, going to Portland and to Boston. So students could, if they had time during the day, take that bus system and get to any of these events. We had the U.S. State Department also on campus on this particular day. We had an applying to grad school evening session for sophomores and juniors thinking about going on to graduate school. And again, another off-campus event in the evening for students. So again, this was just a typical type of day, a combination of employers on campus, workshops for students, and different events, special events that we may have going on. So some examples of unique events that we hold throughout the year to engage students and help them build their skill set, help them with career exploration. One of them we call Resumania, and that is kind of exactly what it sounds like. We set up a table in the student union, and we have time periods where students can bring in their resume for sort of a speed review for 10 to 15 minutes worth of feedback, whether maybe they're submitting one the next day for job or internship, or just want to get some feedback on an update. So it literally is a 10-minute fast review. We get a lot of students through the resume review process during those types of events. We also hold what are called career conversations, and this is just an example of an alum that works for the American Wind Energy Association. He did a talk for students about his career path and also the current industry that he works in. This is another example of something that we hold throughout the year. Different alum, parents on all different types of industry topics. We also held an alumni panel partnering with the Foreign Languages and Global Studies departments, focusing on how alum have used their language skills in different types of job settings. So we had students from nonprofits all the way to somebody that was an executive recruiter at Fidelity, literally talking about how they either majored or minored in a language at Colby, and how they've used that skill or how that skill has enhanced their employability prospects in their career. We host another event. Here's an example of one held specifically for athletics. Rehab Your Resume Week was held down in the athletic training center on campus, where student athletes, either on their way to or from a practice, could drop off their resume for additional assistance. We hold LinkedIn workshops and photo booths throughout the semester. We offer a Start Smart budget and negotiation skills workshop for students. And we've also held job search workshops for students thinking about NGOs or think tanks in DC. And again, this is just a sampling. In a typical year, we offer close to 100 different types of workshops for students. One of the premier pieces of what we do here in the Career Center is a 4-year career development curriculum called the Colby Connect Career Accelerator Series. This begins during a student's first year. It all starts during Jan Plan, so that's when your student, if they're coming to Colby, would participate or officially sign up for this career development program. So as an example, this current first year class, we had 218 of them sign up for Colby Connect over Jan Plan, and that did account for 62% of our student interactions for first year students is through the Colby Connect program. So if we were to take a look at the curriculum, we have sort of 3 main areas where we teach these workshops: the self-assessment area, career exploration, communication competence, and they build upon each other each year as they go through, again, because it's a career development curriculum. But in the first year, we start with a skills analysis, introducing students to transferable content and soft skills. They go through their own skills analysis, and we help them understand how to create a 4-year plan to build upon skills that either they know that they need or they think they may need someday in the workplace. And you can look down through, again, all 4 years and see how we build upon those skills in each year. One of our premier programs is also our job shadow program called Mule It Over, where we have 350 Colby alum and parents that have volunteered to host current students for 1, 3, or 5-day job shadows across the country. So you can see specifically that we have hosts in 33 states and 5 countries right now. And giving you just a few examples of places where students have conducted job shadows so far. It is a program where students can do this any time of the year. And most students are opting to do it when they have vacations. So they're looking for locations close to home, or perhaps also working it in around an internship that they're doing over Jan Plan or during the summer. We also offer what is called the Colby on the Road program, where we take students off campus and have industry immersion programs. So during the fall semester, we do take students to Boston for 2 different programs. One that happens each year is called Paving the Road to a Future in Finance, where we typically bring down between 60 and 70 Colby students, where they meet with about 120 different alumni over the course of the program. They have industry talks, they hear from current alumni, recent alumni that have just gone through the search process. They have mock interviews and a networking session. And then it says 2 varying industry topic, meaning we do vary the industry and it rotates through so that students could participate each year. And an example is last year the topic was pre-health careers. So we had students involved with industry talks at Tufts Medical Center and Mass General. During Jan Plan, we typically try to go to New York or Washington, D.C. In New York, we do host a sophomore financial prep program. And again, another varying industry topic, so it's something students could repeat each year because it would be on a different industry topic. Spring semester, back to Boston, we have another consortium that puts together a career fair and interview day for 12 institutions, including Colby. And during the summer, we typically host anywhere between 150 and 300 students on campus between summer research and work type positions on campus. And we do offer opportunities in August for students to go to Portland, Maine, and we offer what we call a Maine Employers Showcase to see some of the larger employers within the state. As I'd mentioned previously, one of our staff members is a pre-professional advisor here at Colby, and we do offer specialty advising for pre-med and really pre-health areas, including dentistry, veterinary, also students looking to go on to become physician's assistants or perhaps a nurse practitioner. We offer assistance for students looking to go the pre-law route, and also for students just wanting some general grad school application preparation or advising. We do hold a graduate and professional school fair each fall where we have over 80 different schools represented. And we do offer, as you saw even on the calendar that was there previously, graduate school planning workshops. And just to give you a little snapshot of medical school application and acceptance rates of Colby students for the past 4 years, we have held a pretty strong acceptance rate. The national average for med school is actually 43% accept rate. So even in our lowest year, we were still well above the national average. So Colby students, with the preparedness here for med school, they are seeing a tremendous amount of success. The same really for law school, for students applying to law school. I will note you'll see the decreasing number of applicants, and I think that we know that has a lot to do with this idea of what's out there and going on in the market, but it actually is still a pretty strong market, and we are starting to see an uptick in student interest again. But again, that percent accepted, extremely high rates of acceptance into law school coming from Colby. Moving on to the internship and job search. So we really feel that students do have their 8 semesters, 4 Jan plans, and 3 summers in which they could choose to intern and get those skills, get that experience to help prepare them and better market themselves when it comes time for the job search. We guide students through identifying opportunities with employers, for some creating their own opportunities because what they may be looking for they're not finding in an actual internship listing site. So we help them think about how you create an internship opportunity. General preparation from the resume and cover letter writing through the interview process. The Career Center does also manage several funds that can help students supplement and allow them to participate in low or no pay internships. So that would be at a lot of nonprofits, for example, but these stipends or this funding can cover travel, it can cover housing and meals for students. So what we want to make sure is that if a student has the opportunity to participate in a really great internship experience, that financing is not the limiting factor. Colby does also offer academic credit for internships, and that process is managed through the Career Center as well. So just a couple of examples. I know that one says hold space. I didn't quite update the slide there for you, but what that is actually the holding for is for a company called WellList, where students are doing internships virtually on campus, which is a new and exciting opportunity for some students here. You can see in Jan Plan, what I wanted to show is that we do have a number of students that opt to go back home, maybe to say Portland, Oregon, or take the opportunity to do 3.5 weeks as part of their international experience and opportunity. So Jan Plan is quite popular for international internships. And summer examples, students are really interning all across the United States and internationally. Just to show you the types of organizations that participate in our on-campus recruiting program. So for several weeks during the fall and spring semester, we do have organizations that come to Colby to recruit students. So ranging from tech companies, finance companies, we have Peace Corps, we Teach for America, Venture for America, insurance organizations, educational organizations. So we do have a good breadth, I believe, of employers and different types of industries that are coming to campus. And again, for spring, we have various organizations that come for the spring recruiting season. I did plug in this YouTube link for those of you that want to see a brief video that one of our CDA student advisors created for helping to prep students participate and make the most of employer information sessions on campus. So last but not least, by any means, is networking. We do have a Colby alumni network that current students are able to access. We also quite heavily use LinkedIn, as you can imagine. Colby does have a closed professional networking group on LinkedIn with about 6,300 members. And we have about a total of about 14,000 alumni on LinkedIn for students to really mine and search through and find connections. In addition, networking is not something that always comes easily to everybody, and we do offer mocktail parties, etiquette dinners, dinner with six strangers are just some examples of how we try to create some fun ways for students to really hone those networking skills. And again, moving towards outcomes. So what is all of this preparation doing for all of these students when it comes time for graduation? So when you look at, this is just an example of the class of 2014, so our most recent graduating class, 55% were employed, had employment at the time of graduation. 16% were accepted and were going to enroll in grad school, and we had then 2% that had received a fellowship. Now we also do a 6-month out survey, and we had a total of a 76% response rate. So when you look 6 months out or 6 months after graduation, we only had 4% of the graduating class that was still looking. So that is considerable success when you look at national level data for 6 months out of after graduation at a 4-year institution. Last but not least, I also wanted to talk about how you can participate as part of the Colby community. So parents can also share their professional knowledge. We very much welcome parents as professional volunteers with the Career Center. I've provided a link off the Career Center page for you to fill out a form if you're interested. Again, if your son or daughter does attend. If you would love to participate in a career conversation, or if you're in the Boston, New York, or DC area and would like to participate in one of our Colby on the Road trips, we highly encourage parents as well as alumni to participate and share some of their career expertise with students. Lastly, I just wanted to thank you all for taking the time to join us today. And I'm more than happy to spend time answering some additional questions if you have them. So please feel free to email me at ajohnson@colby.edu. And I hope that you have some ample time here to make a decision. And we'd love to see all of your students at Colby this fall. Thank you very much.